What's up everybody, and welcome back to Rebel Ranks, where I rebel rank things, usually video game things, usually levels, and for today I have a very special Halloween episode. Wait, it didn't work. Halloween episode. Oh yeah, that's right, I actually have to put makeup on. Halloween! And because MediEvil on PS4 has the remake as well as the original, I'll be considering both games when ranking these levels. However, I won't be including Dan's Crypt or Xerox Lair because it doesn't even matter, they wouldn't be on this best levels list anyway. They kinda suck. Starting in the middle, we have number 10, Graveyard, the first actual stage in the game, and this stage is great for the early game. As a kid, I ended up playing this stage more than every other, possibly because I didn't have a memory card for about a year, and it was basically the only level in the demo. But still, this is a great stage that shows you exactly what this game is going to try to be. Now, it is insanely straightforward with the most basic enemies in the entire game, but it's designed very well for an early game stage. Not much in the way of puzzles, just get a runestone here and put it there, spin the angel statue to get the chalice, easy stuff. But despite it being easy, it's actually still relatively enjoyable. Yes, being the first level in the stage, there's nothing bad here, and that's great. But then again, it's the first level in the game, so there's not going to be anything amazing here either. Number 9, the Ghost Ship. One of the most interesting levels in the game. This level starts with you being picked up by a giant eagle, who then drops you on a flying pirate ship with a skeleton crew. Literally. And everything about this stage is unique, from the enemies to the theme. The enemies are of course skeletons, however most of the skeletons are tied to a leader skeleton donned with a blue coat and hat. Defeating this skeleton will make all his minions disappear as well. Some of the skeletons have no master, so they'll just resurrect every few seconds. On top of that, this level features some platforming as well. However, it doesn't require walking really slowly. And half the time you fall, you just end up in the hull of the ship. Sometimes when you fall, you will end up losing a life bottle, but thank God it isn't every single time. There's also a boss here who has a real pirate's voice when compared to his crew. All you have to do is light your club on fire and then light the cannons to fire the cannons at him. In the remake, it's one cannon as opposed to two, but you have to hit a switch to aim the cannon. It did make the boss battle more interesting, but with the original being slightly tougher, it evens out to about the same. Yes, a pirate ghost ship basically has absolutely nothing to do with anything, but it is interesting nonetheless. And even though it attempts platforming, you don't die every single time you don't make the jump. And it's pretty enjoyable. Number 8, Hilltop Mausoleum. Now this level takes place in a mausoleum on a hilltop. Yeah. So this stage is led to from the cemetery hill and is a large mausoleum. There are new enemies here in the imps who can steal your weapons. You drop down to 3 tunnels, 2 that collapse upon getting the main item there, and it was always so cool as a kid to have the floor drop out from under you. There's a bit of backtracking needed once you reach the stained glass area to go back and release a stained glass heart with fire, as well as to acquire some sheet music to give to the ghostly organ player to reveal the chalice. A great early game puzzle. This level also features the first boss battle, the stained glass monster. He was pretty frightening. Some range attacks on his heart and you're on to the next stage. Hilltop Mausoleum does throw a little bit more at you with new enemies that can steal your weapons and more complex puzzles, as well as the first boss battle. And while the boss battles aren't anything amazing, this one's actually okay. And in general, this is a solid level, if not a little short. Number 7, Crystal Caves, one of the later levels in the game and a very unique level as well. Now this is all caves, yet unlike ant caves, these tunnels don't look like poop travels through them. A bunch of colorful crystals line the caves, some of those crystals housing either imps or the new Rhinotars. This level is beatable by just traversing through it, however if you don't fight the secret dragon boss, you won't be able to progress through the next stage, the Gallows Gauntlet. In order to fight this boss, you'll need to have gathered the 2 dragon gems from 2 previous levels and placed them into the dragon head carving. This starts a boss battle with a dragon's head. Just smash the floor and boulders will fall on his head. This boss is more challenging in the remake as the dragon moves around in more complex patterns. It is a decent boss battle and much better in the remake. Besides that, going through these caves is pretty fun. However, something more complex with the chalice rather than right at the start of the level would have been nice. Yes, Crystal Caves could have been better with a more complex chalice. However, with a nice boss battle, new fun enemies, and a completely unique environment, This is a great level. Number 6, Haunted Ruins, the old castle in Galamir belonging to King Peregrine, and this level is pretty cool. I mean, it starts with some lame chicken puzzle, but after that you head to the castle grounds, where right away you see 3 farmers hanging above fires. Defeat the shadow demons before they can release them into the fire, and put the fires out to save the farmers, and failing to save them may make the chalice impossible to get. After that, you make your way around the castle walls, fighting more shadow demons and castle guards. You end up inside the king's throne room, and a trapdoor drops you down into the caves below. Returning the crown allows Peregrine's ghost to help you release a lava floodgate under the castle. After doing so, you have to leave the level before the castle goes down, all while finishing off the last of the enemies to get the chalice. You'll have to engage a catapult to launch you over the walls to safety. A pretty fun level here, and nothing too challenging. Although you may not get the farmers your first try, and you may not escape the lava or get the chalice your first try, it's still a pretty awesome level. Starting at the top 5, we have number 5, Pumpkin Gorge. Taking place in a spooky pumpkin field, this is actually a great level. Narrow paths, tons of enemies, nothing too challenging, a bunch of exploring for runes to open gates, and only one instance of platforming. And even though you have to backtrack, you only have to platform once as you unlock a shortcut. Now all the enemies here are pumpkin monsters, and a hammer or club works best here, just go Gallaghering on them. There are bouncing and exploding pumpkins that can take your health, rather annoying, but it's not the enemies that make this level shine, it's the length. This is a decent sized level, and it doesn't rely on backtracking at all for exploring, only to get the chalice. And yes, the level is all pretty similar to itself, but it keeps you interested and engaged well enough. In all honesty, this level doesn't seem like it'd be as fun as it is. But it is. No variation in enemies or scenery should be a bad thing, but it's consistently fun and worthy of a spot in the top 5. Number 4 is Scarecrow Fields, and the first level that I can say I straight up love. The level starts with a spooky FMV of a scarecrow being all scary, and the level is actually a little spooky. It starts and you run into a couple scarecrows, enemies that you can't beat with standard weapons. You'll have to light them on fire with your club. There are farmer monsters that come out of haystacks and imps that control metal... I don't even know. After progressing, you'll be in the middle of the wheat fields with a big farm building in the center, with wheat lining the pathways, and one step out could spell death. You'll then have to progress to the end of the stage through breaking down farm equipment before getting a piece to use in the main farm building. Doing so gets the farm equipment running and leads a path to the chalice, assuming you've taken down enough enemies. Then back through the farming equipment to the end of the level. God, do I love this level. It's scary, challenging, albeit a little too straightforward. There are narrow pathways, but it isn't like the lake or pools of the dead where you can't even step into the wheat, because you have like a second to step into the wheat and step out, which is awesome. Number 3, Inside the Asylum. Just a straight up enemy gauntlet inside an asylum. There isn't much going on here, just room after room of wave after wave of enemy after enemy, and it's pretty awesome. The enemies do get harder and harder, starting with the first zombies seen in the game, then the headless zombies, and finally straight-jacketed enemies. And it's always a blast to play this level. Now it's towards the beginning of the game, down one of the 2 paths that's only 3 levels long, and surprisingly that's basically all I have to say about this level. Nothing amazing as far as scenery and absolutely no puzzle for the chalice, but that doesn't stop that it's a great level. Yeah, it's just an enemy gauntlet, but because the game only tries this once, it ends up feeling more unique than it actually is. It's simplistic and straightforward, but if you haven't been getting the chalices and don't have strong enough weapons, it's anything but easy. Number 2, Asylum Grounds, the level that leads to inside the asylum, the stage that came right in before this one, and this level takes place in a big hedge maze. And the level size is actually quite large, so the fact that you'll be running all over multiple times really helps flush out the level. And it isn't mindless backtracking. You see this level as a stone face, the Jack of the Green, who tells you riddles that you have to solve. But you don't just answer the riddles, you have to interact with items in the level. The first riddle's answer being stars, you have to go around the level and hit grass, stars. After each riddle's solved, a new area of the maze will open to solve the next puzzle, which does help from getting too confused. It's kind of like you need to solve the riddles in order to know what to interact with. There's an easy riddle that the answer is elephant, but that only helps you realize that you have to lead a small rodent to the elephant through a bunch of cats that will eat the mouse if close enough. Overall, this level is great, clever, and the only thing stopping it from being better is that it isn't as spooky as some of the other levels. It was always so much fun trying to solve the puzzles here as a kid, and it was always so accomplishing to do so. I mean, looking up guides wasn't really a thing on the internet back then. Looking up cheat codes was. I don't know where I was going with that. And now we're at the best stage in MediEvil. And I just want to point out that the last 2 levels are on the same 3-level path as the first place level. So it's very fitting that inside the Asylum and Asylum Grounds are not only right next to each other on the world map, but also in this ranking, as well as the level coming in first place. And that stage is... okay. The Sleeping Village, my favorite level in MediEvil. And I was stuck on this level for a while as a kid, but as far as puzzles go, this is always one of the first that I think of in the game. The level starts and there's no actual enemies, just villagers possessed by Zarok, so you shouldn't be attacking them. Roaming around will lead to a few buildings you can enter and a lake area, with 2 gates closed and a door needing a rune stone and a statue with a water spout holding up the needed rune. There's a church that speaks of a crucifix taken by a mare to hide a secret, and a blacksmith with a fire pit and a bellow. There's a house with a gate locked by a rune and another house with the needed rune inside. Using that rune will get you into a few rooms where you can get a bronze or a gold bust, not sure which. From there you can shut off the fountain and use that rune to enter the library where a mold of a crucifix is. Taking both the mold and the bust to the blacksmith will allow you to make a replacement crucifix. I believe this makes the girls with the axe disappear as the true enemies appear. Take the new crucifix to the church and you get a key, and a door in the lake area opens up. That door leads to the mayor's house and you could use the key to open a safe and retrieve the shadow artifact. Get to the chalice and beat the last of Zarek's troops to leave the level. It's a great puzzle and the theme of the level is really creepy, but not too scary. This level so perfectly captured what MediEvil is to me. And after not playing this game since being a kid until the game's remake, this is the level that I enjoyed and remembered the most. And that must be saying something. And those are the best levels in MediEvil, but that's just what I think. Please go down below and comment in the comment section, what do you think the best level in MediEvil is? And please smash that like button if you enjoyed. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, notification bell to stay notified of all other amazing videos that will be coming out on this amazing channel. Be sure to is that all? Happy Halloween. That's all. It has been a blast spending this Halloween season playing both the new and the original versions of MediEvil, and I can't wait to see what I have in store next year. Oh, and until next time, peace.